Welcome back, guys. It is championship racing once again here at SARCO. We did miss last week's racing due to a public holiday, but we're back here in the open class GT3 championship brought to you by Thrustmaster. We're at the Fuji Speedway for 23 laps. We're going to be having a foggy start, but the sun should be coming out later on. We do have a 15-minute qualifier, 23 laps, so sit back and enjoy. So we take a look at the starting lineup for this 23-lap race, and unfortunately we lose both Ash and Charles due to a disconnect 2 minutes to go in qualifying. So we're down from 15 to 13, and in 13th place is Marshall. He's just recently joined with the Chasing Beavers. Marshall drives in car number 25 and he's driving in a Lambo. We move forward to 12th place, and that is Hugh in car number 76. He's driving in the black and red NSX, and he lines up against Jacques for TTR. Jacques is in the 38 Bentley. Moving forward to row number 5, and in 10th place is Ronaldo for Shake and Bake. Ronaldo in the 64 Audi, and he sees himself just behind Andrew, who makes a return here to lobby 1. Andrew driving for the Green Mambas in that 85 Porsche. Black Mamba driver Dylan is in 8th place. He is in the 12 Audi, and he lines up behind Ross for Project Cat Racing. Ross is in the 158 Lamborghini with the red stripe over the driver. In 6th place, row number 3 is Duppy. He's driving for TTR in the white 37 Bentley, and he lines up against Jared for Tornado Force Racing. Jared is in the silver 67 Lamborghini. Moving forward to row number 2, in 4th place we see the return of Morris in the Silverback Racing. He's driving in the 185 Cadillac, and he lines up against the Black Mamba driver Jakes. Jakes is in 3rd place, driving in the 14 Audi. In row number 1, and his highest qualifier yet, that is Jacques for Project Cat Racing. He's in the 157 Lambo, and Bruno puts himself in pole position for a Silverback Racing in the 186 Cadillac. As we wait for the green lights, and away we go. See, it's still a little bit difficult to see with the fog, but Bruno defends his line coming into turn number 1. There's Marius, C2 moves to the inside. Well, a little contact between Marius, Jakes and Jacques Racing, but that's allowed Jared to come from 5th place all the way up into 2nd place. Guys still fighting for position. It doesn't seem like there was too many incidents further down that field. But Bruno's currently leading with Jared in 2nd, Jakes is 3rd, Morris is in 4th place. That is Jacques Racing. He started on the 1st row, and he's unfortunately down to 5th. Andrew's in 6th. There's the Bentley of Duppy in 7th. We chase the Tornado Force driver Jared coming into the first hairpin through Dunlop, right up behind the rear of the Cadillac of Bruno through turn number 13. Jared has a look on the inside, but decides not to attack at that point. Out of turn 15 and now into a Panasonic, a very wide entry for both the drivers. Just see how that Cadillac is just pulling away in the straight line speed. Jared should be getting some benefit of the downforce reduction in the slipstream, but the Cadillac are just pulling away. Some very impressive straight line speed for that Cadillac. Into the first corner, a lot of the drivers are missing that first apex. Well, a little bit of an oversteer there for Jared, but all seems to be fine now. We see it was still on a lap number 1 where Jakes just overcooked the brakes going into Dunlop, and that made it a very easy position there for Marius. So we're currently chasing the 11th driver. This is Marshall. We have a little pan around. We can just see behind him. That is the Lamborghini of Hugh, and right behind is the Bentley. That is the second Bentley in this race. That is Jacques. Oh, we see that there was a little incident there. Dumpy rejoining the track. Marshall making that very easy in the end to go around the outside, but he's unfortunately carried too much speed coming into Coca-Cola. But seems to have regained that, his composure. So Dumpy now having lost 3 places after that incident. I do want to go back and see what had happened there. So back to the action, and Jacques from Project Cat Racing, he's starting to put some pressure here on Jakes. Bruno leads, Jared second, Marius third. Jakes is in 4th place with Jacques Racing in 5th. Well, pretty safely through Dunlop, and there's the 6th place driver, Andrew for the Green Mambas. Oh, in the background there, that was Dylan running very wide. Coming through this last sector 3, a very tight section. We see the very close battle there further down the field. So that's Dylan, Marshall, Hugh, Jacques, and then Duppy. See Dylan, he peels away into the pits. So we jump a little bit further back. There's Dylan, Hugh, Marshall, Jacques, and Duppy. So extremely close here near the back of the field. We see Dylan there in the top of the screen. He peels away to go into the pits. But the straight line speed battle is now on as they cross the lines to begin lap number 3. You can start seeing that this fog is starting to clear up now. Both Hugh and Marshall running a little bit wide. That's allowed Jacques the opportunity to get right up behind him. Will he have a look coming into Coca-Cola? Not quite yet. A great move there by Jacques. He moves himself to the inside, but that's put him now on the outside, coming for turn number 6. Jacques now trying to go around the outside turn at number 8 here through the 300R. Will he look to the inside? Yes, he does. Into Dunlop, makes that a very impressive move in the end there. So Jacques now moves himself 1 place up. So we're on the board with our race leader as he crosses the line to begin lap number 4. He'll take us on a tour of this track, hard into the first corner, down gear 1, here through turn number 2, then staying as right as possible to go into turn number 3, also known as Coca-Cola. Then into turn 4, the strictly 100 radius corner. You see the corner starts tightening up on you, then right here, turn number 5. It's at its tightest, down into a second gear. Turn number 6, the hairpin, exiting out of turn number 7. Through turn 8. Then the 300 radius, that is turn number 9, then hard into a Dunlop. Through turns 11, 10, 11, straighten up through turn 12. A little tap of the brakes down second gear, turn the car in, feathering that accelerator into turn 13. Around here into 14, making sure not to lose the rear coming out of 15. Wide again here into Panasonic, turn number 16 back on the power and back down the main straight. We'll keep it here as we bring up the current position. So Bruno leads with Jared in second, Morris is third. Andrew, he's in fourth place with Ronaldo in fifth. Hugh, he's in sixth place with Marshall in seventh. Duppy's eighth. Jacques, he's in ninth place with Jacques Racing in 10th. Ross is in 11th place. Jake's done in 12th place and Dylan in 13th. Just knowing that Jacques, Ross, Jakes and Dylan have all pitted. This is currently the battle for 12th and 11th place. Coming to turn 1 just ahead of Ross is his teammate. Into turn 1, Ross has gone a little bit wide. Jake's able to hold that inside line. It is now a race to Coca-Cola. Just pan around, we see Ross, he still has the inside. Jakes has to let him go. Great corner there by Jakes, taking a little bit of that inside curve with him. Jakes really battling to find a way around this Lamborghini at the moment. Will they be able to break him down here into Dunlop? The Audis have been very good on the brakes on this track. Well, Ross lets that rear go. He's a little bit too tight. That's going to allow Jakes to get up behind him. We can see that Jakes actually had to come off the pace there. Ross tightening up coming into turn 14. Just not able to get that power on early with Jakes. Have a look on the inside here. No, he decides to go wide here into turn 16. Ross trying to wiggle Jakes free, but Jakes is following him. Jakes right into the slipstream, but just not getting any of that advantage. You can see that Ross is just holding that pace. Will Jakes have a look on the inside here on the brakes into turn 1 again? Yes, he does. Would he have gone too far? Yes, he has. Ross is able to take that position back from him. A great little battle happening here at the moment. So we can start going back to the wide angles again. Now that the fog is cleared, we can actually see what is actually happening. So in shot is the second place driver, that is Jared. He's 4 seconds behind the race leader. Jared, having started 5th on the grid, got that lucky break going to turn number 1, managed to avoid Jacques, Jakes and Marius and put himself in second place, and is really doing well here. You can see just behind Jared, that is Marius in the Cadillac and the green Mamba. Turn number 1 in shot. Well, that is the chasing Beavis driver, Marshall, going a little bit wide there. That's allowed Jacques to put some pressure on him. I'm not sure how these guys had traded places, but Jacques, he was ahead of Marshall. Through a 100R here into the hairpin. Jacques really trying to find a way around him, but it was at this corner where he made his attack, but he's just not close enough. Or is he? No. Marshall sees him coming and defends that line. So Jacques is unfortunately not able to get that place back. It seems that now that Marshall is starting to settle down with the car, starting to find his rhythm, which is making it very difficult for the TTR driver to get around him. See Marshall making all the right moves in defending, but now the Bentley can unleash the V12, tucking in behind, getting that slipstream. He'll now move over. We'll just see which of the cars is better on the brakes. But Jacques definitely getting the speed benefit coming into turn 1. Will Bentley a little twitchy on the brakes, but he has taken that place back, and Jacques now moves up a place. The Marshall's now coming back, coming through Coca-Cola. Jacques a little bit wide. Marshall's got the better. They're touching. No, unfortunately, a little flick of the rear. I don't think Marshall gave Jacques enough room there. If he had allowed just a little bit more space, I think he would have been able to go around Jacques. There wouldn't have been the contact. That's very unfortunate. But good to see that it was just a little flick. No contact with the barrier. So I'm sure Marshall is able to continue without any hassle. Marshall, Jacques, Jakes, Ross, Duppy, Dylan. This is the battle for 6th, 7th. There goes Jakes, losing it. That allows Ross to go past. Duppy is going to have the run on him as well, coming to Coca-Cola. There's Jakes, the teammate in the background, Dylan. So Duppy now moves himself up. And Jakes unfortunately losing out 2 positions off that little mistake into turn 1. So back to our race leader here on lap number 10. As he comes through Coca-Cola, we look at the positions. Bruno leads with Jared 2nd. Morris is in 3rd place with Andrew in 4th. Ronaldo in 5th place with Hugh in 6th. Jacques is in 7th with Marshall in 8th. That is Jacques Racing in 9th place with Ross in 10th. Duppy is in 11th. Dylan is in 12th with Jakes dropping down into 13th place. So unfortunately Jakes disconnected. That's why his position was dropping so drastically. See Dylan coming out of the last corner, Panasonic, with the Bentley just behind him. You can just see how quick that Bentley is in a straight line. Dylan trying to not give him any advantage in that slipstream. But the Bentley starting to move ahead, but here in the braking zone, Dylan holds his line. It takes the tighter inside line. The Bentley has to go wide, and Dylan holds on to that place. Dylan now moves himself up into 12th position. Oh, we see the Bentley in the background there. That was Duppy losing the rear, putting himself on the wall. They're in turn number 3. Duppy's really battling with this car this evening. So 5th and 6th place, Hughes currently in 5th in the NSX with Jacques in the Bentley. Hugh are not giving Jacques any advantage in the slipstream, but we understand how strong these Bentleys are in a straight line. Hugh dodging and weaving to not give him any benefit into turn number 1. Well, Hugh goes wide. That allows Jacques to take a very easy spot. So Jacques now moves himself up into 5th place, and Hugh unfortunately dropping down to 6th. So in shot, the 3rd place driver in the background, that is Andrew in 4th. These two have been pretty quiet this race. Hasn't had anybody around them to be battling, but here they are just getting the laps in, holding fast onto these positions and just bringing them to the end. So the battle for 9th and 10th place. In shot is Ross in the 158 Lambo. He's starting to put pressure on Marshall. Coming into, oh, very close there into the hairpin. I wasn't sure whether Ross was going to commit to that position. But we can see that the clouds have gone away. We still have a few clouds left, but the track will be starting to warm up, giving these drivers a lot more traction. So just in the background there, in that green Audi, that is Dylan. He is trying to close this gap here on Ross. Ross going wide here in 215. Will he try the cut back? Ross moves out very wide to get a much better line, but he's moved himself into the inside. He got a much better drive there than Marshall did. So Ross will move himself ahead. We see Marshall, he now breaks away and goes into the pits. So Ross now moves himself up into 8th place. So the 4th place driver, Andrew's having a great race here, keeping it very tidy on the track. See that he has closed that gap down between himself and Marius. Only down to about 4 seconds. So we'll just bring up to see what's happening in the current positions. So Bruno still leads here on lap number 14. Jared is in 2nd with Marius in 3rd. Andrew, he is in 4th place with Jacques Racing in 5th. Ross is in 6th. Dylan's moved himself up into 7th with Jacques in 8th. That is Hugh in 9th place with Ronaldo in 10th. Duppy down in 11th place and Marshall in 12th position. And unfortunately in 13th place, that is Jakes, and we lose him due to a disconnection. In shot, the 2nd place driver, he peels off to go into the pit lane. Just bring up the current positions. Very late use of that limiter there for Jared. There's Marius and Andrew coming into the picture there. So Marius will go past, Andrew will go past. It just looked like that was 1 litre of fuel. Jared back out the pits. Just want to see whether he will come out ahead of Jacques Racing. There's the Bentley of Duppy down in 11th place, but Jacques is nowhere to be seen. You can see Jacques is still 10 seconds behind Jared, so those are very good pit. And Jared now currently in 4th place. But with Marius and Andrew is still to pit, with Bruno, he too, our race leader, still needing to go into the pits. Dylan is starting to close that gap here on Ross, coming into the Dunlop corner. Dylan running a little bit wide, coming into turn number 13. Here into 16, the last corner of this current lap. You can see the shot of Ross just a little bit further. So on board the Audi with Dylan as we cross the start-finish line. You see there's a battle further on there. Oh, Ross has run a little bit wide. Dylan is able to tighten up on those brakes, braking a lot later than Ross. Running a little bit wide on the exit there of Coca-Cola. Now down into 3rd gear, back on the power, hard on the brakes, down into 2nd. Then up through the gears. Now into 5th. Dylan takes a lot of curb there. Takes up more curb there, and then straightens the car out to get as much straight line speed as possible. Get their car accelerated out of the chicane. You see some action happening in the front there, but this is going to allow Ross to get right up behind Dupi and get some of that downforce removed from his car, get a slipstream. So we see the battle between Marshall and the Bentley of Dupi still happening with Ross. Now getting that slipstream just in bottom of the screen there, that was Ross's teammate. Dupi going a little bit wide there, Marshall's tightening up. Well, Dupi's got that power on, that's allowed Marshall to go past. Ross will go past. Ross is frantically flashing his lights. Ross will move to the inside. So Dupi moves over, allows Dylan to come through. But Dupi are now being lapped as well as Marshall by both Dylan and Ross. Dylan trying to get a slipstream advantage coming into turn number 10. Dunlop, Dylan makes his lunge into Dunlop corner, really throwing the rear around there to try and get that traction down. We saw the little flash going past there, that is the other Project Cat Racing driver. That is Jacques Racing. We should see him coming past. Fortunately, we did miss him. Our race leader will cross the line to begin his 20th lap, getting a little tow down the main straight, compliments of the TTR Racing. Bruno goes into turn number 1 and lap number 20. The positions are Bruno is still leading with Marius in 2nd. Andrew is in 3rd place with Jared holding on to 4th. Jacques Racing is 5th with Ross in 6th, Dylan 7th. Jacques is in 8th place with Ronaldo in 9th. Hugh is in 10th place with Marshall 11th and Dupi down in 12th position. So we jump further back and this battle still continues. Shark Racing goes past in 5th with Ross in 6th and Dylan in 7th place. Oh, we see the Bentley once again. Dupi are really struggling with the setup on their car. I'm pretty sure that he hadn't selected the correct setup that he had used in qualifying, because we need to remember that Dupi had qualified up the order and he had found himself in 6th place, but now he's circulating around in 12th, so really struggling at the moment. So Dylan trying to get a slipstream here on Ross. But now, there's Andrew. He's now looking at coming out of the pit. So Andrew is currently down in 7th. Ross is up into 5th with Dylan in 6th. So Andrew was currently in 3rd place, now down into 7th after taking the pits. Dylan starting to close this gap here up on Ross in through the hairpin, turn number 6. Then here hard into a Dunlop. Dylan Let's close that gap right up. Will he be able to get a run on him? Oh, Dylan runs wide. That'll give him a slowdown. He'll have to come off the power. So unfortunately he will lose out on an opportunity to have a look on the inside into turn number 1. So this is currently the 3rd place driver. That is Morris going past there in shot. That is Hugh. Just want to see where he's going to come out. So Morris comes out ahead of Jacques Racing for Project Cat. So we want to have a quick look at the current position. So Bruno leads with Jared in 2nd, Morris is 3rd. Jacques Racing is 4th with Ross 5th, Dylan 6th, Andrew 7th, Jacques is 8th, Ronaldo 9th. Hugh in 10th place with Marshall 11th and Duppy in 12th position. So we're on the final lap of this race. That is 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th place. So Morris is currently leading this long train in 3rd place. There he is there with Project Cat Racing in 4th, Project Cat Racing in 5th. Then the Black Mamba of Dylan in 6th place. Just a jump to our race leader as he starts coming through the last and final corners. So Bruno will exit out of a Panasonic for the last time. He'll flash his lights, start weaving to show his gratitude for being able to get this car on the top spot. Unfortunately with us losing Shoal. But Bruno will cross the line in 1st place. There's Jared. He will cross the line in 2nd. I do want to jump a little bit further down just to see. There's Marius, Jacques, Ross and Dylan. So 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th place are only separated by a mere 5 seconds after 23 laps of racing. Andrew, he will come home in 7th place with Jacques in 8th. Ronaldo will finish in 9th place with Hugh in 10th. Marshall will come home in 11th place and Duppy struggling this evening in that Bentley. He will cross the line to finish in 12th position. So thanks for watching guys, I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, give this video a like, subscribe to our channel and don't forget that all our races are streamed live. So hit that notification button and you'll be notified when our races are up as well as when our next replay has been loaded. We'll be back in 2 weeks time for round number 5, so until then take it easy, keep racing hard. Thanks for watching, yos.